In a world filled with sniveling snowflakes, where timeouts and safe places are abundant, where there's 37 genders to scroll through on a job application. Not that they have jobs. We're proud to be your salvation and your beacon to unabashed, in-your-face talk. This is Stars, Bars, and Cigars, the no-holds-barred conservative talk show hosted by battle-tested vets. Lock and load and get ready for an explosive journey through breaking news, the rich tapestry of constitutional history, and the pulse-pounding realities of Army and Navy life. Oh, and yeah, cigars. Stars, Bars, and Cigars. And now your hosts, Jimmy the Bull and Tig Tigger.
Hey, Patriots and Snowflakes. Tig, how are ya?
I think I'm a little wired tonight.
Are ya?
Bull, yeah, I got my tinfoil hat on because everybody's always saying about my tinfoil hat over the years. Well, guess what, folks? Here you go, my tinfoil hat. Yes.
All right.
How you doing? How you doing, Bull? Busy
I'm
week?
doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm just living life day by day, you know. I had to get in touch with you today when I found out I had a Sunday gig, so I'm like, oh, I better get this changed pretty quick. So I'm glad we made it. So,
all right.
But tonight, for tonight's show, so do you think this is going to be our last Pope? Tig?
Yeah. Lots of people are saying, is it the end of globalism?
There you go.
I got a lot of stuff I can talk about on that, folks. Some of it may be to you conspiracy theories, but just guess what? You know, they always say that science trusts the science. Science always starts with a theory before it becomes a fact. And I tell you this much, in order to get those theories into facts, you've got to question everything. So that's what we do. We question everything. We come up with theories. Most your so-called conspiracy theories usually end up being very, very truthful. So, cigars, right?
So, Tig, what are you smoking?
Funny you should ask. Our last podcast, you did a cigar company called the
Room 101.
Room 101, the Payback. Evidently, they got quite a few of those cigars. It's a relatively new company as far as cigar companies go. Not too new, but it's around. So I decided this week I was going to do a Room 101. And this one's called Johnny Tobacco Knot. It's got a little astronaut on it. He just so happens to be holding a shovel, which is funny because I think that shovel is really actually Johnny spot on, if you ask me, for the Johnny Tobacco Knot, because a shovel is what it takes to dig up all the space program bullshit. But I digress. Funny, interesting about this tobacco company, founded in 2009, which was the year my daughter was born, which is kind of cool, and it was founded by a United States Marine. And you know what? I like it already. United States Marine. Ooh ah, okay. Ooh ah. Hey, Semper Fi. Matt Booth. Matt Booth is his name. He founded it. And then he ended up with a deal with Camacho Cigars, which is another fine cigar. He has Payback cigars. He has one called Doomslayer. He has some that are Japan-inspired, probably because he was stationed in Japan as a Marine. So he's got like Japan-inspired cigars like the Daruma, the Ichiban, number one, it means. The Nama Kubi, a couple of different Japanese-named cigars. And this is a Toro. The Japanese, the Johnny Tobacco Knot is a Toro, this particular one. Its origin is Nicaraguan. The wrapper is an Ecuador, Connecticut, kind of a lighter wrapper. Yeah, so obviously this was taken from an astronaut influence. I don't know if he's mocking the astronaut by giving him a shovel or what the
My
deal
guess is
is.
he is.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Star Trek said space, the final frontier. More like space, the phony frontier, but okay.
Yeah.
um, this is a medium-bodied cigar, so it's anybody can smoke it, even your beginning cigar smokers. So
Is that
far, it
mostly
stays.
Dominican filler?
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, it's not a Dominican filler. It's Nicaraguan.
Oh,
Um, and I'll tell you what. But it is still light, medium bodied. So it might be a hybrid. It might have some Honduran in it. It didn't say that, but I'm thinking it might. And so far, it's a mild flavored cigar. It's medium. Like I said, I think any cigar, even a new person could, that's never smoked before cigars could try this one. Um, it's got an array of flavors: spice, cedar, earth, pepper. This cigar stick. The funny thing about this, and I'm going to keep showing it on the screen, this astronaut with the shovel, because this cigar stick only produced 3,500 boxes of 20 in a box. So smoke them while you have them, while you have the time, because I don't know if they're going to be around very long. It sounds like they almost did a limited deal on these. So
yeah.
if there is a popular demand for them, if people love them, then maybe they'll keep it around. But right now, there's only been 3,500 boxes made. So, go out and get yourself a Johnny Tobacco Knot by Room 101. So far, it's pretty good. So far, it draws easy. It lit easy. It draws easy. It's fairly evenly burning. We'll see if it stays lit with all my chatter, of course.
Yeah.
This cigar has received a 91 rating, by the way. So that's pretty decent, too. And so, with that being said, Bull,
Yes,
what
sir.
the hell are you smoking tonight?
All right. Well, finally, shit. Tonight, I am smoking a San Cristobal.
That's a stout cigar.
Elegancia. It's got that parrot or macaw or whatever on there.
Yeah, it's a parrot. It's a macaw,
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's that's a very sound, very popular cigar with a very good reputation. It has had very high ratings over the years.
Yeah, well, it does have a 91 rating through Cigar Aficionado. And this is from the same makers as La Roma de Cuba and Ashton. So it's going to be a really good smoke. It's got a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper with Nicaraguan filler. So it's a little bit more harsher. It's not real super harsh. It's a good.
Have you smoked them before?
Yeah, I've smoked these before.
I was gonna say, because you do kind of get a buzz.
Yeah.
So it's a little heavy.
Well, I could feel that coming on.
I wouldn't recommend it to the beginner cigar smoker.
Yeah, I think it might be a little. And just a little tip, like if you're kind of getting like a little headache or something, or maybe a little buzz, just grab like a little piece of candy or something, sweet to take to give you a little extra kick of sugar, and that'll take care of that.
Yeah, chew some gum,
or even drink some orange juice or something, and that'll typically take away that little buzz you get.
Yeah, I don't smoke them on an empty stomach. That's the thing. People smoke them cigars and heavier ones on an empty stomach. You're gonna feel a little queasy.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't recommend. Most cigars I wouldn't recommend on really too empty of a stomach, because it's it's not going to be as pleasant as it could be.
Right.
So. But then again, live and learn.
Yeah. So, this is going to have some notes of cream, which I am already tasting. It's got, you usually get that with these blonde wrappers.
Yeah.
So you typically get that, creaminess, which
cedar.
I'm tasting.
You get some cedar?
What's that?
Are you gonna get some cedar like this one?
No, this one's saying cashew, almond, coffee bean, and white pepper.
Hmm.
So I kind of taste a little peppery flavor on it as well. So I'm not tasting the nuts though, which is probably a good thing.
You don't like nuts?
No,
You
just
don't like
mine.
you don't like
Just
putting
my
your
few.
you don't like putting your mouth around nuts, bull?
I'm not saying I'm smoking nuts, dude.
I like the coffee and cocoa stuff. If there's any coffee or cocoa to that cigar, then I'm usually down with it. But
Yeah.
mm,
And this is burning really nice and evenly too. So I think it's going to be a really fine smoke.
never really been a fan of nuts, though, bull.
Yeah. Just your own, right?
Yeah,
So tonight, we'll get off of that subject a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, yeah. Let's clean it up, bull.
Let's clean it up. So tonight, the Pope,
The Pope.
Tig,
Oh
the
yes.
Pope dies, and Klaus Schwab from the WEF steps down.
A lot of people already saying the end of globalism.
I
Well,
don't know, man. That new fuck they got coming in is a pile.
I got news for you, folks. Well, the new guy that you think's coming in, bull, he ain't the new guy.
Okay.
The new guy's in his 40s.
Well, the new guy I was thinking of was the one, the CEO, the ex-CEO of Nestle Water or something like that. And he's like, he didn't think that Americans or anybody should have access to free water.
No, and you know what? There's another guy who is right up there in the WEF, and they may make him chair too. He's talking transhumanism. He's saying humans can be replaced. He's saying humans are programmable and that they should be chipped and all that good stuff. So this guy, he's nothing short of an antichrist. I'm not saying he is the antichrist, but he's right up there. He's a real piece of work. And if they make him the chair, I think he's going to have Klaus Schwab beat as the biggest, most evil piece of crap ever to walk the planet, besides your Bill Gateses and your Fauci's and all that.
Now, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a quick question. Do you think that's a smokescreen that they're saying there that the WEF is investigating Klaus?
I don't know, because you know what? I don't believe anything that's said ananymore.
I don't believe it either.
No.
I think it's horseshit.
And maybe they'll suicide him. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be good.
He's been there. They've liked him though, so I don't know. I mean, he's been right on their agenda.
Right.
So it's not like he's a whistleblower or anything. He just comes right out and says what they want him to say.
Right.
But yeah, and here's the thing. Right up there with those clowns is the Pope, who was a very big time globalist, New World Order agenda. I'm sorry to offend you Catholics, but the Vatican is tyrannical. The Vatican is corrupt. The Vatican are globalists. They're liberals now. Very much, most of them are liberals because they pretty much pushed out all the conservatives. They are pretty evil. They are not. You could sit there and like the Catholic doctrine, if you will. You can enjoy going to church and being spiritual and all that, but just know that your hierarchy is about as evil as they come. There's more pedophiles in the Vatican, per capita. And now they're saying, okay, Bull, did you see the Pope in the casket?
Yeah.
Did you see that funeral with the black hoods that looked so satanic?
Yeah.
And then when they show the casket, this doesn't even look like a human in the casket, let alone the Pope. His hands look like reptilian hands.
Yeah.
His face looked a little reptilian, looked like he shape-shifted on his way out. And there's something for you, folks. Tinfoil hat. And some are claiming that the actor Jonathan Pryce played the Pope and that Pope was never a real thing. There's a clip in 2020. It shows during the COVID shutdowns, the Pope going up to the window and giving a blessing. And as he turns around, he just disappears out of thin air.
So do you think that was like maybe like kind of like a blue beam thing, where they were just imposing him in there, or what do you think?
I think it was blue beam. And here's what I think. Just like I think that Joe Biden wasn't the real Joe Biden. I think they had actors playing him. I think with Hollywood masks. I think they had even robots making him look like he's walking around.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on it. I mean,
Go down the
I think
rabbit
he
hole on those
probably,
robots
I think he
and those
probably died years ago.
probably, but go down the rabbit hole, folks, on those robots and on those Hollywood masks. Because I'm telling you right there, I've seen enough footage to know that this is real shit. And the Pope, okay, first of all, Cardinal Ratzinger was a conservative Pope. He was still a pedophile, but he was a conservative Pope. And they didn't like what he was doing, okay? They were so happy to get rid of Pope John Paul II, who I think was the last real Pope.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinal Ratzinger became Pope Benedict, and all of a sudden, because of quote health reasons, he stepped down. Popes don't step down, folks. Popes never step down. They take that seat until death. Okay. So for him to just kind of step down for health reasons, and then he lived several years later until he died, they pushed him out. The Jesuits pushed him out. Opus Dei pushed him out. Folks, if you're not aware that there are secret societies within the Vatican, within the Roman Catholic Church, and they're just as medieval as anybody else. And the Jesuits are really evil. They're the hierarchy, and so is the Opus Dei. And I think they pushed him out. They forced him out because they wanted their own figurehead. So I think they took an actor to make a Pope Francis, the figurehead, because this Pope, before they decided who was going to be the Pope, I had kind of seen a lot of cardinals in the College of Cardinals, and I had never seen this particular one, Pope Francis from Latin America. And so he magically came about, and he wasn't high up on the cardinal hierarchy. I think they wanted a figurehead, one that they could basically be like, puppeteers, pulling the strings. And I think they just wanted a face, a figurehead, one they could say, hey, you're going to be the figurehead. You're going to go around and make appearances and stuff like that. But we're really calling the shots, because there is a thing called the Black Pope, and there is the College of Cardinals that pretty much run the show.
Right.
And they're evil. They have a globalist agenda. And so I don't know. I don't think the Pope really died. I think that their actor decided that he was done and that was it. And they were just going to kill off the Pope, like they do kill off in movies and stuff. And, well, let's put it this way, folks. They are going to probably select a new Pope. And
now, before we go into that part, do you think that, like what's been going all over the internet saying, there was only one more picture frame left for a Pope? Do you think that truly is going to be the last? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, there is a Catholic saint who prophesied all the popes called Saint Malachi. Okay, look him up. He predicted every pope of the year very accurate, every pope of each time that they were going in the history of the world that they were going to have a pope in the Roman Catholic Church. He predicted what their names would be, what they would be like, and he was very accurate on these predictions.
So do you think, let me ask you another question. So do you think that the Pope actually knew when he was going to die? I mean, according to what St. Malachi said?
I'm not sure. This Pope Francis did make a statement that said he wasn't going to live much longer, be around much longer. It's hard to tell, but I will tell you this. The last Pope could be the next Pope. And there's a lot of things based on Malachi said that the last Pope would be 100% Italian from Italy. Okay, for starters. I'm trying to think now what the name was he was going to call himself. I'm not sure if it was Peter or what, but anyway, this next Pope, you'll know when he accepts LGBT and decides that gays can be married in the Catholic Church, And when he brings all the religions kind of in, like the last Pope Francis kind of opened up the doors for all this,
Right.
but this next Pope is going to double down on all this. And he's going to make statements that are not very supportive of the Bible. And he's going to make decisions for the Roman Catholic Church that are going to be never heard of in the Roman Catholic Church. Like, oh, now the priests can get married. Now everybody's pretty much for that, because people say, oh, well, they wouldn't have been pedophiles if they were allowed to be married. Well, that's not true, because, you know, pedophiles are pedophiles. Okay.
Right.
That marriage has nothing to do with that. But, you know, there's a lot of things that say that they would have had more priests because there's been shortages of priests. They would have more priests if the priests were allowed to have regular relationships and be married like every other Christian reverend, pastor. But it's still unheard of for a Catholic priest to be able to get married. So if this Pope allows it and allows gay marriages and starts saying things that are just way and making decisions way off the wall of what the Roman Catholic Church has always been about, you know that he's the one. He is the final Pope. And the final Pope is supposed to help bring in the Antichrist, who will be a world leader, who will come about when there is a total chaotic event in the world that happens. So we have to stay tuned, folks.
Yeah.
We have to stay tuned. But I personally think the next Pope will be handpicked, like this past one, or an actor or whatever, and he will be ruled by the College of Cardinals, Opus Dei, the Jesuits, the evil hierarchy of the Catholic Church, and I think he will be the final before the end of the world as we know it happens. Some people say the end of the world is not the end of the world, but the end of what we know and a new beginning. Okay, you're welcome to believe that. Some of us believe in Bible prophecy, what happens after the fact, but stay tuned.
Yeah. You know, just some thoughts. Did you happen to catch there was a video of this I'm calling him a false prophet, because he's like standing up there and saying that, you know, he's going to be the next, you know, Messiah or whatever. And I guess he goes by the name of Adula Ama Ala Madam or something like that. I don't know if you caught that or not, but it was kind of, I don't know. I think he was just trying to maybe make him a name for himself or something.
Yeah. Disregard his bullshit. Disregard anybody with.
I thought too. I was like, this guy's a fucking joker, you know.
Disregard anybody with an Islamic name.
Yeah.
They're not a Messiah. For one thing, the real Messiah, his real name, well, first of all, he's the Christ. English people that with the English language call him Jesus Christ, but his Hebrew name would be Yeshua, you know, Yahshua. The Father God is known as Yahweh or Yahuwah.
Yeah.
And, you know, Christ, the Son of God, is Yahshua. So, you know, anybody with any other messed up Abdullah names, Muhammad names, that's not Christ, folks.
Right.
That's not Christ. Okay.
There's our little sermon for the night.
Yeah. Christ was originally a Jewish, born in Bethlehem in a manger of a virgin named Mary. And, he did his ministry for about 33 years, and then he died and was risen in 3 days and set up a new covenant between God and man. So there you go. He is the true Christ, and any other name is false. You can call him Jesus, you can call him Christ, you can call him Yeshua, but, you know, any other Islamic sounding name, if they claim to be the Messiah, they are not the Messiah, folks. They are not the Messiah. And the next, no matter what you folks hear or see, the next person to come that claims to be Messiah and sits on the throne will not be the Messiah. The second coming of Christ is very well written and articulated in the Bible as we know it. And if you don't have those signs, if someone comes and claims to be Christ, there's certain things that have to happen first, so don't buy it. You know, there's a Blue Beam project out there where they can show a hologram of somebody coming down looking like he's coming on the clouds as Christ, and then you see this human guy come out of the woodwork that claims all this stuff and creates a big peace treaty in the Middle East. Trust me, that's not the real Christ. Okay.
Right.
So, anywho, globalism's not dead, folks, because whenever some big shots step down from the New World Order, the globalist agenda, you can bet the next ones in charge are going to be younger and they're going to double down on what the old ones
On the dirty shit. Yep.
Yeah. So just like George Soros' son is just as bad as he is, the next leader of the WEF, World Economic Forum, going to be just as bad, if not worse. Next pope will be worse. Okay, folks, it's not over. So, you know, stay alert, stay suspicious, stay a little paranoid, because if you're not prepared. All right. So, folks, globalism is not dead. I don't care what anybody wants to speculate on. It is not dead. We need to keep alert. We need to keep fighting. We need to keep resisting the globalism. Because look, folks, Trump ain't going to be around forever. We don't know who's next. And they're already fighting that agenda, as we see, with these stupid liberal, idiot, libtard, Marxist judges. Their day's coming too.
Yeah, you know, my thoughts on that. I think Trump ought to declare, you know, if the judge calls him out on something, he needs to call him out back and ask him, hey, show me in the Constitution where you came up with that. If it's in the Constitution, we'll follow it. But if it's not, go fuck yourself. You know, just go fuck yourself, dude.
Well, now you got Gorsuch
to do it.
Gorsuch and Chief Justice Roberts, they're traitors. They're deep state traitors. They're global scumbags too, because they're ruling on trying to resist the deportation along with the rest of the judges and the liberal judges out there.
Now we need to deport every single fucking invader that came across the state, that came across our lines, man.
Let me explain something, folks. First of all, the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, appoints the Supreme Court judges. All right? They don't have authority over the president of the United States, no matter what they say, no matter what anybody says. The president of the United States is the commander-in-chief of the military. He is there to make executive decisions to protect the country and its security and its interests. So if we declare that these illegals that have come over from all over, like Middle East terrorists, gangs, and everything else, and they're murdering and raping and doing bad things in this country, and he decides to deport them all because they should have never been brought here in the first place, because that's a treasonous act too, bringing over all these criminals and terrorists and anybody that's an enemy to the country and to its people. This president, the commander-in-chief, has every right to deport them.
Yep.
In fact, the people of this country, not the standing army, the people are the militia, as the founding fathers would have told you if you do your research, folks. It's not the military. They're the standing army. The militia was the people, and they can organize whenever the hell they want. They have every right, too, to get rid of these illegals by any means possible. Yep. And the problem is you got these politicians, you've got these NGOs, you've got the media all on the same team telling you nothing but filthy lies, misinformation, bad narratives, and stuff like that. They're afraid. They don't want you to know the Constitution. They don't want you to know what the founding fathers actually said.
Right.
And what they actually meant. So, folks, take it from us. We did our research on the founding fathers, the militia, the standing armies, the Constitution, what the role is of the executive and the president and the judicial system. And the judicial system doesn't have the power that they say they do. Okay. And no matter what they say, no matter what the politicians say, no matter what the media says, no, they do not have the power over the president. In fact, though, now on these tariffs, there is a point that Congress is making, saying that the Congress has the right to set tariffs. It's in the Constitution, folks. Trump has made some executive orders, and I'm all for them. But he legitimately could have a fight with Congress over the tariffs. And right now, there's lawsuits.
And just to clarify, tariffs really don't even affect us as of right now, anyways. So, I mean, people who are saying, "Oh, these tariffs," there's a reason why our economy is in the shitter. No, it's because we had 4 years of a very bad economy that we're trying to recover from.
Bad policies. Look, folks, tariffs have been proven in the past. What tariffs do is they take these countries that are otherwise ripping us off, charging us tons and tons of money, milking us dry. What it does is it says, okay, we're going to charge you extra to bring your crap into our country.
Right.
What tariffs are going to do is it's going to force companies to come back to the United States and set up shop in the United States so that they can make their deals and sell their product. It's going to force companies to hire within the United States. And what we're going to do with these tariffs is we're going to end up making product in America. We're going to end up giving jobs back to Americans so they can put food on the table of their American children, American people. This is a pro-American agenda.
Yeah.
Tariffs are, so that these countries stop ripping us off. Maybe they should stop putting tariffs on us and stop overcharging us. This way we're going to say, hey, turnabout's fair play. We're going to charge you now so that you're forced to bring your companies back to America. You're forced to set up shop in America to sell your product. See, what it is it's basically, it's a pro-America thing. Tariffs is pro-America. It's actually helping us. It's saying, you know what, enough's enough. We're going to start giving back to America. We're going to start creating jobs in America. We're going to start supporting American people. This is so for the American people, these tariffs are. So stop listening to the lies of the media and the lying narratives of these deep state goons and these globalists and these scumbag Democrats. Stop listening to shit. And the bought and paid for rhinos, there's a lot of weak bought and paid for shitbag Republicans too. So, Trump is a populist, which is not pro-Republican, pro-Democrat. It's pro-people, pro-American. Okay. You want to call him a dictator? You want to call him a fascist? Hey, it's better than the People's Communist Party, which would take away all our individual freedoms and liberties.
Go, Tig. Go.
You want to live on your knees, folks? Be pro-communist and socialist. Don't get behind this AOC Bernie Sanders garbage, because you know what? All socialism leads to communism eventually. With a big country like the United States, and look it up. Nobody's killed their own people more than communist parties.
Right.
Folks. We want to stay where we're at.
You brought up a subject that I was just going to touch a little bit on a little bit later in the show here, but since you brought AOC up, she is like the worst pick. I mean, she's worse than Kamala, to be really honest with you. And if your thoughts are floating to that garbage, you are so far gone that it's not even funny.
And Bernie's got one.
I want to say that up front, so you people know where we stand.
Bernie's never even worked a real job in his life, folks. He's lived off of your dime forever. And he's got like three mansions?
$1 million mansions. Yeah.
What a hypocrite. What a giant
getting the money for this, Tig.
Yeah,
it's called $174,000 on their salaries.
It's kickbacks.
And they got these $1 million fucking houses.
See, they take money from big corporations to push that agenda. They also take kickbacks from all the foreign aid that they're giving to these countries. In return, these countries take the foreign aid, and then they give some of the money back to these certain politicians that are paid to side with them to push the foreign aid money, and then they get the kickbacks, and these kickbacks are millions, folks. In fact, if you add up every politician that's ever gotten a kickback from foreign aid, they could have given every household in America $1 million freaking dollars, and we could all be wealthy and we could all be living very well. But instead, we're not, and they are, off of your dime. They fucked you up the ass, folks, and you're the ones upset. You're upset. You're upset because someone like Doge is exposing the waste, exposing the fraud, exposing the fact that these politicians are making tons and millions of dollars off of your dime while you sit and squalor. You know, you Democrats are so brainwashed that you're so pissed off at these folks. Well, let me tell you something. Your own people are multi-million dollars off of your dime, and they made enough money off of kickbacks over the years. They could have all made you very wealthy, and you wouldn't be struggling right now. You idiots, you morons, to believe it. You know, here's the problem, folks. Here's the problem. Democrats, these people that continue to support them, have been brainwashed since they were kids. They had the party. They belonged to the Democrats and their family and stuff like that. And then over the years, they got hit with neural problems in their brain, you know, from whether it be too many vaccines, too many drugs, that the big pharma's pushed on them, or the chemicals in the food, the chemicals in the drinks. And some of you just had too many weak brains that neurologically they got scrambled, and you suddenly became Democrats. Yeah.
Just felt a mental illness, you know?
Yeah. Folks, let me tell you something. If you're of sound mind, then you know what's going on right now, and you should be pissed. You should be pissed off at the entire government. You shouldn't be pro-Democrat. You should be like, you know what? Wait a minute. I don't even like some of the Republicans either. We're getting ripped off by these assholes. All right. Trump is about MAGA, folks. I don't agree with everything in MAGA. I don't agree with everything with Trump, and some of them are brainwashed themselves of MAGA. But let me tell you something. The populist agenda, the MAGA agenda, if you want to call it an ideology, fine. Or if you want to call it a philosophy, if you want to call it a political scheme, I don't care what you call it. But the fact is, it's pro-American and pro-people like never before. They're trying to give you some truth. They're trying to show you you've been ripped off. Okay, they're trying to show you that even both sides, because both sides don't necessarily like Trump or populism either, or MAGA either. But they're trying to show you the corruption of both sides, really. Trump has showed you that. They've showed you that, the corruption on both sides. Okay, so why do you keep saying, oh, Republic turds, or whatever they want to call them? See, because these Democrats, they have names for Republicans too, and we call them lib turds, libtards, whatever. You know, we can go back and forth, but you know what, folks? We're going to end up in a civil war. You know why? Social unrest, because we've allowed these politicians and the mainstream media, through their narratives and through, you know, their COVID pandemic crap and all that, we've allowed you guys to be pushed by fear, to be motivated by lies, and we are divided on political agendas, political sides, race, religion, and everything, so that we can never come together like they did in 1776 and organize and see the light and say, we're done with you. Okay, you're screwing us. So we're going to end up in a civil war.
And I think they know it.
Yeah, we are so modern Rome right now. Okay, you know how the Roman Empire originally fell? Because of political division, social division, overstretching its military, destroying its economy. And guess where we're at right now, folks?
Destroying the economy. Yeah.
And social divide and everything else. Look at the Roman Empire, and that's where we're at, folks. So we're about ready to collapse. And if you continue on the road and you continue your nonsense, you know, okay, go ahead. All you guys, color your hair purple and decide that you're a woman and carry on with your bullshit, because you're Sodom and Gomorrah up the yin yang, and you're like modern Rome. And you know what? You're the reason why we have these problems. You're part of the problem, and you're helping destroy us completely. One day you're going to wake up and you're going to find out you have no country left. You have no money left. You're going to be scratching, and you'll have no choice but to become half android and take chips in your brain, chips in your hand. Half of you, I think you already have chips in you because the way you're acting. All right, start being pro-American. Wake up. This is you know what? This is crap right now. They're trying to show us we're being ripped off. We're being screwed over by politicians that are very, very wealthy. When actually, if the politicians were very pro us and they gave all this money to foreign aid, which ripped us off, which tanked our economy, and if they got the kickbacks, if they were honest about it, they'd say, "Hey, we're going to get millions in kickbacks for foreign aid. Let's give it back to the American people and cut checks on every household." Now that ain't going to happen, is it?
No. They'd rather line their own fucking wallets.
Actually, they wouldn't have to. They wouldn't have to get the kickbacks. Stop giving money to any of these foreigners, and turn around and with the savings that we get with a decent economy, cut the checks back to the American people. Better yet, stop taxing them because taxation is theft. Tax on this, tax on that, tax on your money that you've earned. They're robbing you. That's theft. They're taking half your paycheck. That's theft. They're taxing you and raising your taxes on the property you already own. Folks, that's theft. Okay, even in our town, the commies that run our city, Bull, now they want to raise our taxes again. Now they want to raise our utilities. You know why? Wasteful spending project.
Yep.
And I told them when I ran for council 5 years ago, I told people, if you look at their 5-year wasteful spending plan, it does not benefit the people. And instead, in order to pay for it, they're going to raise your taxes. They're going to raise your fees, utilities, everything. They're going to raise it. And now they're raising it. I told you so. Why don't you people believe stuff? What have I got to gain? I am not a multimillionaire, folks. In fact, I would be considered middle to low class in the food chain when it comes to earnings, folks. I don't make money doing this podcast. I don't make money trying to tell you the truth. I'm trying to help. I am trying, and I don't like people, but I'm trying to help you by telling you truth. And you can sit there and say, "Oh, wear your tinfoil hat." Okay, I'm wearing it. And I'm still telling you the truth. And I got nothing to gain by telling you the truth, folks. I'm trying to save us. And you know what? I'm not the savior. There's only one savior. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to buy us time on earth. Okay, I'm trying to help us live out the rest of our lives a little more better by seeing the truth and saying, you know what? Maybe we need to push back on these corrupt sons of bitches that we voted for to represent us, and they don't represent us. They represent themselves.
Yep. So Tig, we got kind of past the halfway point about our cigars.
Oh, well, this is a solid cigar, folks. It's a $9 cigar. You're going to pay something around the lines of $8.99, $9.99 for the cigar. I don't know how long it's going to be around. It's put out by Room 101. It is that's
actually been out for a while. So
yeah, the Johnny Space Nut. It's the astronaut, and he's got a shovel in his hand. Okay, this is a pretty stout cigar, folks. It's not going to, it's not real overly tasty, but it's not, going to choke you either. It's a very good starter cigar. It's a very good cigar for a person that's been smoking for a very long time. It draws nice, draws smooth, stays lit, burns evenly. Hey, man, I'll tell you what, the Marine that came up with the company, the Room 101 cigar company, Room 101, the Marine, Matt Booth. Yeah. He's an entrepreneur. Let me tell you something. He believes in the American spirit. He believes in the American, dream. And I'll tell you what, obviously he still has that motto Semper Fi from the Marine Corps too, always faithful. Because I think he was pretty faithful to the cigar smokers when he created his cigar company. Because really, you really can't go totally wrong with these cigars. I mean, it's one of those things where, he's produced a really good product. It's not the best product, but it's not bad at all either. Yeah. And, it's a standard. And I think when he created his company, he created it the standards that the military used to have. And he took all what he learned from the military and said, you know what, I'm gonna create a company, a cigar company, and I want it to have a high standard. So this is a guy who probably smoked cigars during his service. And
Yeah.
he said, you know what, I want to make a cigar company too. And
Yeah.
you know what? Hey, Matt Booth, if you're out there listening, great job. Great job. It's always good to support a veteran owned company.
Yeah.
I will be buying more Room 101 because I was just really astounded. I'll tell you what, I was giddy to find out that the guy that founded this company was a veteran. Anytime I find out that a cigar company is owned by a veteran, you can bet your ass I'm going to be buying their cigars. I support veteran companies. I hope you do too.
Yeah, and that Payback, you got to try some of those. Those are really good smokes. I know they're big gargantuan mothers, but
I've talked so much as I said that it stayed lit. It went out on me. Damn.
nice. Well, I'll tell you what, my San Cristobal is an excellent cigar. I'm getting a lot of light, creamy flavors coming off of this and a sweetness to it. And it's smoothed out considerably once you got through about halfway through it. So and the ash is really nice because it's a solid ash. The ash is just holding so nice. I had a hard time getting rid of the first ash on it.
Really?
So,
yeah. I understand that. I've smoked it before.
Yeah, so it's a well-constructed cigar, and you can feel it in your hand. You know, it's not soft and mushy. It's got kind of a nice firmness to it, but not too hard. You know, that it's too hard to draw through because it does have a really nice draw. It'll lay down some good smoke rings.
I had an innuendo coming when you said that, but I'm not gonna say anything. So
Yeah, okay.
This cigar is well built as well. Since you said about well built cigars and stuff,
Yeah,
it has a good
Payback
feel.
was too. I thought the wrapper looked a little cheap on the Payback, but the cigar didn't fall apart. So
yeah, this one's not falling apart either,
right.
and it's really solid, really solid, good quality.
All right, so we got a lot more to get to. I think we're going to probably hold over a little bit on this program here today. So we've been noticing a trend since Klaus decided to take the hiatus and get the fuck out of town. So little Dick Durbin done the same.
Little Dick Durbin stepping down
on this, Tig. I don't know. You can maybe check me on this or not, but my thoughts on this is that these guys are getting out before they get in trouble, but I don't think there's going to be anywhere to run or hide.
You're not getting pardoned, assholes.
Yeah.
It's time. It really is time for indictments. It is time to double down. We came down hard on Bondi, and she's going after these judges. You want to talk about that? Because we were talking about that.
You know what? This is kind of, in a way, Tig, it's low-lying fruit. I want to see the big ones get
yeah. They should. But you know what? Going after some of these corrupt judges is a very big start because they're really slowing things down in this country.
Yeah.
How about the judges Pam Bondi's going after that are harboring illegal aliens and helping them? I like that. Get these judges.
I liked it too, and I think that's a good step forward. But I think, we need to see somebody big just take it really good,
Hey, you know what? And besides the politicians, because we can go on a list. Adam Schiff needs to be arrested. The Clintons need to be arrested. The Bidens need to be arrested. Obamas need to be arrested. Fauci, that bureaucrat, that son of a bitch,
Bill Gates.
Arrested. Bill Gates needs to be indicted for crimes against humanity. These people do need to go down, and they need to go down hard. And boy, I'll tell you what, if I'm the judge and the jury of them, they don't stand a chance. They're not going to, they are not going to even stand on death row, man. They're going to be done the next day. I tell you what, folks.
Yeah,
doesn't cost that much these days for lumber and a good solid rope.
Yep.
So,
and that needs to happen. I mean, like I kept saying, man, MAGA's demanding blood. We want to see it.
We're demanding it because these people are hardened criminal, white collar crime criminals. They have done an injustice to humanity. And most of them are involved in sex trafficking children too. Let's bring out that Epstein list because half of them are on it. Let's get these mothers. Let's get these guilty pieces of shitbag crap. You know what? I'll tell you what. Have you ever seen a shitbag, Bull? Have you ever seen a colostomy bag? Have you ever opened it up and just about died from the smell? Well, let me tell you
not
something.
that adventurous.
Well, I have. And I know what a shitbag is. I know what it looks like. I know what it works, how it works, and how it smells. And let me tell you something. These people are far worse than shitbag.
Yeah.
I call them shitbag, but they're far worse than any known shitbag. These people need to go. If you take, what do you do with a shitbag? You toss it out. So it's time. It's time to go after these people. It really is. It's past time. It should have happened yesterday. So, yeah. So what do you want to do here, Bull? You want to go over some news? You want to talk some more about some shit bags?
Well, we can talk about some shit bags. But first, RFK Jr., he made it back in the news.
I love it. I love what he's starting to do now. Making headway.
Well, I think it's been long overdue, and he's starting to kick out those dyes.
And the states are starting to follow suit. Our state just did it. They're down with it. They're going to eliminate in our state all those dyes.
Yep.
Hey, folks, since we're getting rid of these harmful dyes, okay, I want to talk about these dyes. You got anything you want to discuss about these dyes, Bull, before I do a spiel?
Keep it short.
I'll talk fast.
Talk fast.
RFK Jr. set to ban common food dyes that are toxic. M&M's, Lucky Charms, Gatorade, the works. Okay. Skittles. Neurological problems in kids, petroleum-based synthetic effects, academic performance is bad, mental health, physical health, it affects it all. Now, the shit bags on these three-letter agencies, such as FDA, they lied and they said that the dyes have no scientific effect. Let me tell you something. This is another lying piece of crap bought and paid for agency that needs to go. The FDA, the Food and Death Association.
Yeah.
They need to kick the rock. They need to take them down. I hope RFK Jr., I hope he goes after them, and I hope he says to Trump, we need to abolish the FDA, or at least take out all the people that are in the FDA and redo it and build it up with some people with some ethnics, some people that are solid, some people that are honest, because they're a bunch of shitbags. They're corrupt. Time to get rid of them too. So there's a list of dyes that are getting banned, and I want to list them dyes real quickly. Red dye 3 is already gone. Red dye 40, yellow dye 5, yellow dye 6, blue dye 1, blue dye 2, green dye 3, citrus red 2, and orange B. That's just the start. And he's going to go after the geoengineered foods as well, the geoengineered processing, all the toxin crap that they use in the foods too. And I think they want to get this done by like 2028. To me, it's not soon enough, but let's get it done. Good start. Get rid of the chemtrails too, by the way.
Yeah, well, we'll talk a little bit about that towards the end, but I kind of wanted to touch a little bit about the world's population.
I want to squeeze in 5G, by the way, a quickie on that.
All right, go for it.
Okay, 5G, folks. Now they're going to call me conspiracy theory. I have a lot of people say, oh, we know everything about 5G. It doesn't hurt anybody. Imagine thousands and thousands and thousands of microwave ovens and the radiation that is getting kicked off in our airways from all these towers. And there's a lot of 5G towers. Look where you live, folks. If there's one within a mile radius or a few blocks radius, then wonder why all of a sudden within the past couple of years, people are complaining about chronic headaches, migraines, neurological problems, vertigo, dizziness, nausea, and people are getting sick more often now. Okay, this isn't because of viruses, folks. Neurological problems with dizziness, lightheadedness, nausea, migraine headaches, multiple headaches, continual headaches. It's because of the microwave radiation that is so powerful that is linked to not only the headaches, the insomnia is another one I forgot to add.
Yeah.
Insomnia, not being able to sleep well, along with neurological issues and headaches. I listed all them. DNA damage, folks, is also because of all the strong microwave nuclear radiation coming out of the 5G towers. This was an agenda, folks. Now you say,
it's also speeding up the cancers, that's why a lot of people are getting turbo
causing
cancer.
more cancer. Now you say, oh, well, the elite is, you're okay, because you're going to say, oh, the big shots, if it was so harmful, they're going to be affected by it too. Why would they allow such nonsense? Because the elitists, the big shots, folks, they don't live like we do. They don't live around 5G towers. They've got their underground penthouses. We've discussed the underground stuff before, but they live in a whole different world than we do. They live secure from all this crap than we do. They don't eat the same foods, drink the same drinks. Their stuff is number one. Their stuff is pure. They have their own cooks with their own pure foods, no processed crap, no dyes, none of that stuff. And they've got the best of the best, and they're not exposed to any of the chemtrails that we are or any of the radiation from the 5G because they live in a different area, folks. They come out once in a while. Most of them are actors, okay? Hollywood masks. There's been video footage of people like Mad Max, Maxine Waters, elitists like Biden and other ones where you can see the seam where the masks are. They caught it on video. They've caught a lot of the stuff. These people hardly ever go out, folks. They use people to do their bidding. Okay? Now, call me a conspiracy theorist again. Go down the rabbit hole. Have some courage, folks.
And I think
you think I make this shit up? Because I don't. I've done research, folks.
Right.
Many of us agree. Many people agree with me or saying the same stuff. Go down the rabbit hole, folks. This stuff is bad for you.
Yep.
5G is bad. 5G is awful.
And I think the 5G has a lot to do with the bee population as well. I sent you that video about the bees on the decline on a serious decline for 2025. Chemtrails along with the 5G.
Chemtrails are killing off the birds, killing off the livestock, killing off they're killing off the bees. The bees are endangered. The honeybees, the bumblebees. We're seeing less and less every year. The pollinators. Yeah, because when the pollinators die, so do we.
Yep.
So,
my thoughts are, and I'm not saying that, we're going to do this or anything, but my thoughts are, they don't have no problems with killing off, our food chain and such.
Yeah.
What were to happen, like if, the chemical plants that make their shit, that they spray in the sky accidentally burnt down, I ain't going to feel bad about it.
That'd be a shame, wouldn't it?
That would be a shame. I'm not saying we're doing it or anything, but
no. Well, we wouldn't be able to. We don't have that kind of power. But it'd be an awful shame of some of the chemical plants that make the chemicals that spray our chemtrails in the skies. It'd be an awful shame if they start going up in smoke.
Yeah, and there's people out there that really do know where these plants are, and that would just be a shame, really.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if some special ops groups got together and decided, hey, we're going to start helping people out, and we're going to get rid of some of this shit.
Yeah,
that's hurting us. Yeah, that'd be a damn shame, wouldn't it?
That just would be a damn shame.
Be a damn shame. Damn shame if more people started forming militia groups and started shutting down all this nonsense, all these elitists, and start saying, you know what, we've had enough. You don't represent the people. You're hurting the people, and we're going to stop everything that you're using.
Well, they're part of the people,
The people.
I mean, come on, where's your loyalty at? Is it that far up the fucking bottom of the?
Some people are too comfortable with the system because they're afraid to get out of it. The Matrix movie tried to warn you about the system, folks. Wake up. Lots of movies tried to warn you. They tried to warn you in Terminator too, and you still don't believe there isn't robots that look like humans? Folks, there's video footage of it out there showing you.
And our beloved Elon is making an army of, robots. So, I mean.
Yeah. See, there's good and the bad and the ugly with Elon. I like what he's doing with Doge, exploiting exposing the fraud and all the waste and stuff. But down the road, we might have to deal with him on another topic that we don't agree with. So
right.
it is what it is. It is what it is on that one.
Yep.
Got anything else?
The high-ranking official, the high-ranking Russian military general, he went kaboom.
Yeah, and that was no accident, of course.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Trump called out Zelensky because Zelensky doesn't seem to want to have peace. He wants to keep the war machine going so he can make money off of all the foreign countries giving him his milk money.
You know what? I think JD Vance is correct. You know that, if he doesn't come to the table right now and get this done, or we should walk away, wash our hands of the whole fucking deal. No more money, no more weapons. You're on your own, fucker.
I think Russia, in retaliation, I think they should send some special people out to pay Zelensky a final visit.
Yeah.
How about that? A final visit.
That'd probably be the best thing. Really.
That will end the war. And for all you people that are pro-Ukraine, let me tell you, because it's mostly lib turds.
Yeah.
If you had any idea how corrupt this Zelensky is, what a pervert he is, what a sex trafficker is, a money launderer he is, how many people of his own that he's killed over the years, you may change your tune or you may not. But as for me, I will tell you this. I'm not saying that we can fully trust Russia. I'm not saying we can fully trust Putin, but Putin doesn't at least chemtrail his people. He doesn't put harmful chemicals in their food, their drinks, and he does resist the New World Order agenda a bit. And so to me, I'm rooting for Russia to end this war.
Yeah.
Any means possible.
Yeah. I agree.
So
I think that would be the prudent thing to do.
Yeah. Well, they whether you agree or disagree with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they did any means possible to end the World War II against the Japanese. So, sometimes, I'm not saying nuke or atom bombs, but sometimes if you want to end a war, go after the leadership.
Yeah, and Putin has those hypersonic missiles, and all he needs to do is have a location, and it's over with.
He's got satellites. He can probably see exactly where Zelensky is right now.
Yeah.
So why are you delaying? I get Putin and Russia's delaying it because if they did something like that, then they got NATO up their ass. They got us up their ass. You know what? NATO's corrupt. We need to get President Trump. We need to get out of NATO. They've costed us way too much money. They're way too corrupt. They're pushing World War III right now. Time to get out of NATO. Time to tell them to go screw themselves. Yeah. And it's time to let Russia end this war. Okay. It's none of our business. It's the European East. Okay. The East and the West, the East is none of the West's business and vice versa. Okay. This is their war. Let them fight their war. Let Russia end this war. Okay. We don't need troops over there in NATO fighting this war. We don't need our troops over there fighting this war. We already lost a Marine who was stupid enough to fight for Ukraine. Okay. No more. Okay. I side with Russia on this. End the war. End it. End it now, because there's no way Ukraine's going to win this war. And it's costing way too much money on our taxpayer dime. End this war, Russia. End it. And President Trump and his administration should be singing our tune right now. Since Zelensky doesn't want to cooperate, say, okay, it's all yours, Russia. We're done.
Yeah.
Peace by force.
You got any other words you want to put out there for Trump? I mean, because I think we're listened to, so...
I think President Trump needs to double down. He needs to push the agenda, get rid of all the illegals by any means possible. Stop the new,
not just the lawbreakers, but he needs to get rid of all of them.
Stop the New World Order agenda if you can. Indictments, investigations, indictments. Get all these people. Remember, President Trump, back in 2016, you said Hillary Clinton would be locked up. You said because on the debate stage, you said because if I lead, you'd be in jail. How come she's not in jail?
Yeah.
put these people away. All of them. Obama was spying on the Trump campaign illegally. That's been proven. Get him out of here. He's a Marxist. He was an illegal president. Even Trump said that his birth certificate was phony in so many words. Get rid of these people. Okay?
Yep.
Talk. President Trump, as we've learned over the years as real Americans, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Don't just talk the talk. Walk the walk. Get rid of this corruption now.
Yeah. My words to him are, you need to get our fucking economy rocking, dude. You need to get it going. You
Prices
need to
are
get
still high.
more enriching yourself and all your fancy fucking buddies. That part's done. You made your fucking money off of us. Get us the fuck making money again. And for the transportation secretary, Duffy, do something about the freights. The freights are fucking killing the small guy. So do something about it. I know you guys are listening to us. I see where all of our shows go. So, I know you are listening. So get our freights back up and get them going. You're killing the small guy.
I can't wait till it comes up where we're being listened to in Langley, Virginia. That'll be interesting.
We are.
Basically. This is enough's enough. Okay. The people, 79 million people voted for change, and we want it now. None of this crap. No, we don't want America to be an empire. Okay. Our founding fathers set up a constitutional republic, which meant to the people, for the people. It also meant small government. It did not mean for our country to become an empire. Okay, this is not the Roman Empire. We are not Rome. We don't want to be Rome. We just want to live our lives, and we want it for the people, by the people, and we don't want to be an empire. We want to be living our lives free, and we want to be able to live comfortably. We don't need an empire. We don't need the government to be wealthy. They already are. We want the people to be wealthy, okay? And stop poisoning us in the process.
Quit spraying our fucking skies, period.
I know we went over the hour, but I do have a few more things to add, so.
All right, go for it, man. We can hold over for a few more minutes here.
I want to make a statement about Rosie O'Donnell just for the hell of it, because she was recently on CNN, and she appeared on CNN and said she doesn't regret moving to Ireland with her non-binary child. Well, Rosie, President Trump was right. You are a filthy pig. Stay in Ireland, because we don't need the likes of you.
No.
And for the rest of you people out there that are libtards that like your trannies and like your tranny children, binary, and your purple hair, and you're thinking you're a guy and should play in women's sports and you should pee in women's bathrooms and all this nonsense, get the fuck out of the United States of America now. And if you like the illegals so much, leave with them. And if you like communism, move to China. And, that's another thing, President Trump. Kick every Chinese national out of this country. Take back the land that they bought because they had no business buying it. We had no business selling it. Get China out of the United States, period. We don't need to make any more deals with those commies. Constitutional Republic has never been friends with communist nations. We have fought wars. Okay, in WW2, we should have never fought with the Soviets. We should have never defended communism, because then we ended up in fighting North Korea, fighting the Red China over against communism. We fought in Vietnam against communism. We trained in the 80s during the Cold War against communism. Why are we friends with communism? Get China out of the United States, period. Period.
Yeah.
And one more thing to add to. We lost a real Hall of Fame football legend. The 85 Bears Super Bowl. Steve Mongo McMichael just passed away a couple days ago. He was funny. He was a good guy. Anybody ever see when he did the 7th inning stretch song, Take Me Out to the Ball Game?
Yeah.
There was a much hated corrupt umpire, and he called him out before the singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" during a Cubs game, which was hilarious. He did a stint as a professional wrestler, and he was good too. He was hilarious. He had some great promos in professional wrestling. He actually joined up in the early 90s with Ric Flair and the group called the Four Horsemen. And that was great too. That was a great stint too. So, Steve McMichael did a lot for people that were football fans, did a lot for Chicago, did a lot for professional wrestling fans as well. He entertained us. He was entertaining even off when he wasn't involved in sports and stuff. You've ever talked to him, seen him in interviews. He was a great guy. He was just funny. He had great character, and he was tough as nails, man.
Yeah.
He some of the last of the old school football players, man. Boy, I'll tell you what, if you got hit back in the day when they didn't have the rules, the pussy rules that they have in football today, man, you did not want that big body coming down on you, man, because he was going to slam you. He was just, and I don't really talk sports all that much, when it comes to football, because you know how I feel about modern football and sports these days. But yeah, I liked Steve McMichael. I got a couple old football cards by him that are in mint condition. Those are keepers. I really enjoyed Steve McMichael over the years. So, best to you in the afterlife, Steve.
Yeah. Hey, final impressions on your smoke.
It's good smoke, folks. I got it right down there to the end, to the very end label. I recommend it. I don't know how much it's going to be longer, but I think because if people do buy it up, it'll stick around. They'll mass produce more.
Oh yeah.
And, it is solid. It doesn't have a whole lot of taste. If you're into like cocoa and coffee, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get an infused taste. You're not going to get a sweet tip, where it's sweet on the end and stuff like that. You're going to get kind of a cedar, earthy taste to it, but it's a very, very solid cigar. So I highly recommend not just this cigar, but a veteran-owned cigar company called Room 101. Look for the label Room 101. Any of those cigars are well worth buying. So what about yours, Bull? I know all about your cigar, and I can tell.
My San Cristobal Elegancia is a solid smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a thumbs up, and I think even a beginner, that's maybe smoked a little bit, I think they could get away with this one too.
Well, you know what?
It does start out a little harsh, but as soon as you get through that first, couple inches, and then it's a smooth sailor from there.
Are you talking to a female?
Just a tip.
Sorry. Yeah. Here, advice for people that don't smoke much cigars that are getting into cigar smoking too. You do get a cigar like the San Cristobal. You can put it down. Yeah. You can actually, if you don't want to smoke the whole thing at once, snuff it out, put it in a humidor, keep it moist, keep it, in a humidor, and you can turn around and re-smoke it later, the rest of it. Knock off that ash, maybe cut the tip of the ash off and relight it up.
And clear it out.
Yeah, blow it out, clear it, and re-smoke it. Because, like I said, some of the big cigars, folks, and stuff, you don't have to smoke them all the way down. You can stop, smoke it later, So that's my advice, if you're feeling like lightheaded or if you're feeling a little too buzzed and that it's too heavy for you or something, put it out as it is, keep it moist, put it in a humidor box, whatever, and come back and smoke it another time. Smoke the rest of it later on, like the next day.
I just noticed here, it happened to me twice, is I let the ash get a little big on it, and down towards, at the beginning of it, the ash was really, strong. Now the ash is getting weaker, as you get closer to the end, and I just dropped my ash twice on my computer,
on your lap, on your computer,
my lap, and my computer, and pretty much everything. But so when it gets down towards the end, you might just want to ash it a little bit more frequently, but no big deal.
Stop being so sloppy.
Yeah.
Stop being so sloppy.
Hey, one other interesting thing that I came across, I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but do you know what the 135 rule in cigars is?
Oh, I heard it once. I don't remember.
Okay, instead of regulating just your humidity at 70 degrees, which is the
Yeah,
always preferred
the
method.
normal preferred
Yeah, so basically what the 135 method is you get your humidity within 63 to 72%, and then you keep your temperature, the rest of the difference between, to the 135. So
135. Yeah.
yeah,
You regulate it between that,
the temperature
regulating
and the humidity.
in between. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, there is a sweet spot, but there's also a leeway, a little less, a little more in
Yeah,
between. So if you're at 70, that's you're always kind of perfect.
yeah,
Yeah. But you can stay in the 60 some range or close to 80, 70 some range.
yeah,
And you're still pretty good yet. I prefer 70. I think getting it up to closer to 80 is not so bad either.
yeah.
I wouldn't push
If you
it
got a
any
lot of cigars.
I wouldn't push it any less than 65 though.
Well, they
Because
say
you're
62 to 7, or I'm sorry, 63 to 72.
yeah, but if you're getting it less than 65, you're pushing a little bit on the dry side.
Yeah,
You don't have enough moisture in the cigar then.
yeah,
You can still smoke it, but it's gonna taste a little dry.
yeah,
I don't like to really go anything under 65 at all.
yeah,
To me, my personal preference is over 65.
yeah.
And I don't really
I've
want to
been
do
maintaining mine religiously now at 70, and I tell you what, I'm seeing a big difference in my cigars, and they actually do taste a lot better.
mine's at 78 right now.
Yeah,
And it's been kind of between 76 and 78 as of late, and I'm having no problems. I think the cigars are perfect that way. So
yeah,
it's all on the palate, folks. Everybody's taste is different, but
yep,
that's just the way it is. Most if you get a humidor box, it's easy to go by the gauge. Some of the gauges will tell you the ideal level, and so you want to
yeah,
shoot for the ideal level. You want to make sure your gauge is saying the ideal level. But yeah, you can't go wrong. I would say between 65 and 80.
yeah.
No more, no less.
Yeah,
That's
I came
my
across that and I
personal.
thought it was pretty interesting, so I thought I'd bring it up. And
Yeah, that's my opinion I gave, and you
yeah,
gave your opinion, and we're pretty
sure.
close. You
Yeah,
know,
next week I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up some different actors' smokes and stuff. So I want to kind of talk about that. So I think that'll be kind of interesting.
got anything in mind offhand?
I do, but I'm going to wait till the next show.
Okay. Gonna surprise us with a off the wall thing or not?
No, just some general stuff, general knowledge about different smokes and stuff.
Have you seen? They got cigars out there, man. I wish I could put one on the show, but I think it's just a little above my pay grade. They got some cigars out there that are like at the $45-$50 mark a stick.
Yeah, hey, did you see Gurkha out of all cigars
Yeah.
has a $300 cigar? I'm like, no way.
No way.
And they
Folks,
also have one that's a 1.35 million for the cigar.
we do not recommend Gurkha on our show.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I might revisit. I might get a Gurkha. I might spend a little money on the next one, on the next Gurkha, and I'll get a good one, and I'll see.
I think I've smoked all the Gurkhas I've ever tried are lousy. Some are mediocre, and I will say, on my opinion, mediocre is the best I've ever smoked a Gurkha. I have never had any high raves about Gurkha. I'm not a big fan of Gurkha. In fact, I really just don't care.
No, and I'm the same. I got the same feelings. I mean, I've smoked a bunch of different Gurkhas, and I just there's some of them I would take like half the smoke and I would just throw it away because it either is falling apart or it's just garbage.
One of these days, we're gonna have to light up some cohibas.
Yeah, well, we got to do our smoke off, man. We got to do one of our next episodes, cigar smoke off, where that's all we do is just pure cigars. We maybe we'll shoot the shit about what's going on, but we'll
I
just,
swear, if I do 5 cigars on one show, I might be under the table.
we'll have to throw in a couple of Dominicans because I think
Yeah,
the
they're lighter.
Nicaraguans will put us under pretty good.
I like the Honduran ones too. They're a happy medium smoke.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot to choose from out there.
Oh yeah.
There's some that I've repeated on our show, some brands just because
I have too. I mean, because I like them, and and I see them, I'm like, oh man, that was a good smoke. And back in my head, I'm like, man, I smoked that on the show before, but I'm gonna fire it up. What the heck?
I'm gonna have to fire up another Don Kiki and another acid.
Those never get old.
Yeah, KOs are pretty good too.
CAOs,
yeah. So there's a few I got in mind lined up and stuff. I haven't smoked a Padron on the show since last year, so I might whip out a Padron too. There's just a lot to choose from. Bull, I got a couple. One more thing, I got a couple. Salute to our military. I've got a couple cigars put out by Don Kiki that have, one's got an Army label, the Army logo on it, and the other's got the Navy logo on it.
Nice.
Now the Navy's birthday is a while out. I think it's like October, I forget. But the Army one is in June. Their anniversary date is in June, and they turned 250 years this year in June. And I got to make sure I've got some of those Army ones. I got to give you one so we can do one on a show to celebrate the anniversary of the United States Army in June.
Sounds good. I
think it's sometime before or after Father's Day. Yeah, in fact, it might land on Father's Day this year, I think. So we're going to have to maybe do a Father's Day show plus celebrate 250 years of the United States Army with a United States Army cigar.
Yeah, our last Father's Day episode was a real big hit.
Yeah, it was.
We had over 3,000, maybe 5,000 views on that one, so that was a really good one. Maybe we can
do one to salute the fathers and salute the United States Army at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Sounds good.
Ooh-ah.
Ooh-ah.
Yeah.
Thanks for following Stars, Bars, and Cigars. Do you got a final word?
Same thing as I always say.
I know. You're prepared.
If you're not suspicious and you're not a little paranoid, then you're not prepared.
Yeah, and quit spraying our fucking skies, bitches. Yeah. We're tired of it. We're done with it.
Don't be insulted.
I found one other interesting thing about the spray. I guess Bill Gates has been, that brown shit we're seeing, that is actual dust that they are putting in the spray to help.
And it's coming down on the rain. It's coming down with the rain, that brown residue. It's nasty.
To block out the sun is what they're doing.
It's also parasitic.
Yeah.
Parasites. So, folks.
That's a Bill Gates thing.
Yeah, and he's to go.
The responsible party.
He needs to go. And don't be afraid to wear the tinfoil hat, folks, because guess what? Most conspiracy theorists have come true and have been true.
Bill Gates wants us eating bugs and lab meat, so.
And he wants us to take those vaccines. Yep. That'll kill us off faster. He's responsible for the AIDS epidemic in Africa.
Yep. Follow us on all your socials. We're on Rumble. We want to thanks to Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube. We're on YouTube, man. I see our videos are kind of shadow banned, so you got to kind of look for them a little bit. And if you know anybody, tell them to watch them on YouTube. The video quality is really excellent on YouTube as well. So you get a really nice view or a really clear picture and everything. So, but yeah, follow us on your socials. We're on audio on Spotify, Podbean, Podchaser, Alexa, all sorts of different outlets. So keep following us and turn us on to your friends.
Thank you.
We are out of here.
You've been listening to Stars, Bars, and Cigars. Two conservative vets Telling it like it is. The rally cry for those who appreciate bold truths served with a side of mayhem.
Roger, outside, decide before copies all. We'll keep them sweating until we see Butcher 3. Out.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And if you didn't, well, why are you still here, Snowflake? We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, follow us on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and hear our precious voices on all the streaming services. Until next time, keep the spirit of freedom roaring.